Lamborghini is one of the most exclusive car brands in the world. This luxury car brand is only available to the rich and famous and is an automobile that most people can only ever dream of owning. When asked what car they would buy if they won the lottery, many people's response would be a Lamborghini. This Italian car is known for its speed, power, and beauty. In turn, this has led to it being associated with status, wealth, and luxury. Car enthusiasts are intrigued by how this car is manufactured to achieve such stunning results and would love the opportunity to drive such a vehicle just once. Although Lamborghini is a well-known company and people can easily recognize the car, there are few people who know further details about this luxury vehicle and the company who manufacture it. The company has a long and interesting history and have manufactured many stunning cars. Here are 10 interesting facts about Lamborghini. Number 1. The first Lamborghinis were tractors, and they're still made today. Because of that World War II experience, when he got home he started piecing together tractors out of spare parts. People loved them, and his tractor business took off overnight. They're no longer part of the same company, but Lamborghini Trattori are still designed by the same firm that created the Gallardo and the Maserati MC12. They range in price from $30,000 to over $300,000. The only question is, will your neighbor still give you credit for owning a Lambo? Number 2. Lamborghini was founded because Ferrari used tractor clutches and had crummy customer service. Ferruccio famously owned a Ferrari 250 GT, which he took in to be serviced at the Maranello headquarters after realizing that the clutch was identical to the one being used on his production line. He politely asked Enzo Ferrari for a replacement part, who replied, "You're just a silly tractor manufacturer, how could you possibly know anything about sports cars?" Like any red-blooded Italian, he spit on the floor, walked out and started designing his own sports car. 4 months later he unveiled the Lamborghini 350 GTV. Number 3. The first Lamborghini didn't even have an engine when they unveiled it. The 350 GTV may have been the world's first Lambo, and ultimately, it led to the creation of the supercar genre, but when it was first unveiled at the Turin Auto Show it wasn't even finished, so they put a bunch of bricks where the engine should have been and kept the hood shut the entire time. Number 4. And it was designed by the guy who builds Indy cars now. Gianpaolo Dallara did much of the Maior's chassis and engineering work, then went on to work in F1, before starting his own race engineering firm, which happens to build every single IndyCar chassis you see today. Number 5. In the late 1960s, if you didn't own a Miura, you were nobody. Today, they're owned by people like Nicolas Cage and Jay Leno, but in the 60s Maiors were driven by people like Saudi King Fahd and Prince Faisal, Rod Stewart, Dean Martin, and Frank Sinatra, who famously said about his orange Miura with orange shag and wild boar skin seats, "You buy a Ferrari when you want to be somebody. You buy a Lamborghini when you are somebody." Number 6. There was almost a Lamborghini Taurus. Ferruccio's birthday was April 28th, which meant he was a Taurus. That the constellation is in the shape of a bull is the reason Lamborghinis are named after bulls. It's a good thing he wasn't born in late February, early March, or we could all be lusting after the Lamborghini Ciclade. 7. They made an SUV, and you could get it with a boat motor. The LM002 earned its nickname as the Rambo Lambo because people like Sylvester Stallone drove them. They generally came with just a Countach V12, and at least one was built this way. It was way better with a powerboat motor from Motori Marini Lamborghini, pumping out over 700 horsepower. Number 8. The Aventador design was inspired by an insect. According to one of the chief designers of the Aventador, it took its inspiration from an F-22, an F-35, the B-2, and those shiny green jagged leg beetles that smell bad when you step on them. Number 9. You can virtually tour the Lamborghini Museum right now. Thanks to Google Maps and Google's never-ending quest to take over the world, you can now tour the entire Lamborghini Museum without ever putting on pants. Number 10. Lamborghini is now owned by the Volkswagen Group. Although it has retained its own name, Lamborghini is now owned by the Volkswagen Group. As a company, Lamborghini has experienced many ups and downs. When the company almost went into ruin, they were rescued by the American company Chrysler in 1987. The company was then acquired by an Indonesian investment group in 1994. This led to a lot of uncertainty in the company. By 1998, Lamborghini was in control by the Volkswagen Group under the Audi subdivision. This is a union that has benefited both companies, and Lamborghini has flourished ever since.